Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Miss Brittany, and this is Miss Valerie. We are your teachers for today.
Our goals today are to identify and use verbs orally. We are also going to review the character, setting, and plot of the story The Two Dogs. Next, we'll go over our rough draft and editing marks on our book report. And finally, we will write a final copy of a book report on The Two Dogs, and we'll include a title, characters, some details regarding the plot, the use of temporal words to signal event order, and some sense of closure. Let's go ahead and get started.
Miss Valerie, what are you doing?
Well, I had a very busy weekend, and my family and I made a mess, so of course I'm cleaning.
Oh, really? I think you're doing a pretty good job.
Thanks. See here, first, I spray the table. Then I wipe it down. Then I drink a sip of water because I'm so tired from all that cleaning.
Well, hey, all of those cleaning actions remind me of our lesson for today.
You're right. Today we're learning a new part of speech.
Part of speech, do you mean like nouns?
Actually, yes. Some words can be nouns, which is one of the parts of speech. In a sentence, though, a noun is a person, place, or thing. Many students have learned that a noun can be common or proper. A common noun is any person, place, or thing, like girl, store, or tiger. Whereas a proper noun gives the name of a specific person, place, or thing. And it should be capitalized, like the names Valerie, Clover Street, and Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, okay, I see. So a noun is a person, place, or thing. Everything we can see or touch is a noun. The word bottle, for example, is a noun.
That's right, you've got it. We have so many wonderful nouns in our world, but today, as I mentioned, we're learning a new part of speech. Today we're talking about the part of speech called verbs. Say that word after me. Verb.
Verb.
Good job.
And what are verbs?
Well, a verb is a word that shows action. Verbs are the things that you can do, like run and jump and read.
Or like spray, wipe, and sip.
That's right. The dog in this image is doing several actions. He's running and fetching. You could also say he's playing. Let's play a game to help explain what a verb is.
Oh, I love games.
Great. Miss Brittany, have you ever played the game charades? It's a game in which one player acts out a word while the other players try to guess what that word is.
Yes, I think I've played that game before. It sounds like fun, but can the boys and girls at home watching play too?
Of course they can. Boys and girls, we're going to play verb charades. When we perform an action, I want you to tell us what we're doing. I'll go first. Can you guess what I'm doing?
Are you eating?
Yes, that was my first action. It was eat, and eat is a verb. Your turn, Miss Brittany.
Okay, here we go.
Boys and girls, can you tell what Miss Brittany is doing?
Do you think they got it?
I sure do. Did you all say that Miss Brittany is writing? Excellent. The word write is a verb. Let's do one more. What verb am I acting out?
I know. What do you think, boys and girls? Can you tell what verb Miss Valerie was acting out? That's right, she's yawning. The word yawn is a verb because it is an action.
Great job. That was a fun game. Now turn your attention to our screen and look at the phrase jump up and down. Boys and girls, can you jump up and down? Jump is an action word. A word that tells an action, as we've said, is the part of speech called a verb. We can underline it with a squiggly line. There, you see that we have underlined the action verb jump with a squiggly line.
Can we do another?
Absolutely. How about the phrase hop on one leg? Which word in that phrase is an action or something you can do?
Well, I can hop, so I think hop is the action word.
That's right. Since hop is an action or something you can do, it is the verb in the phrase. Boys and girls, can you all stand up and hop on one leg? Let's all do that.
In that phrase, we can underline the word hop with a squiggly line to show it is the verb.
That's right. Sometimes I like to test the other words in the phrases to make sure I don't have more verbs. Is on something I can do?
No.
Is the number one something I can do?
No.
Is leg something I can do?
No.
Well, then those words are not verbs. We have a couple more phrases and sentences to read. Miss Brittany, let's see if you and the boys and girls watching can identify the verb in each phrase. Say this phrase after me. Clap your hands.
Clap your hands.
Miss Brittany, which word in that phrase is an action or a verb?
Well, let's see. Clap your hands. I can act it out to help me. When I clap my hands, the action is clap. So I believe the verb in that phrase is clap.
Very good job. Let's add a squiggly line under the word clap. Now let's do an example where we find the verb in a sentence. We're still looking for the word that shows action. Say this sentence after me. Workers dig a hole.
Workers dig a hole.
Let's think through this one. The word workers refers to a group of people, making it what part of speech?
Oh, I remember. That is a noun. That is a person, a place, or a thing. So the word workers is a noun.
That's right. So why don't you and the boys and girls watching find the verb in the sentence?
Okay, since workers is a noun, I have to look for the action. What do the workers do? I've got it. They dig. Therefore, dig is the verb.
Great job, Ms. Brittany. And I see you've added your squiggly line to show that the verb in this sentence is dig. We have one more example to work through with the boys and girls. Say this phrase after me. Rub your nose.
Rub your nose.
Miss Brittany, which word in that phrase is an action or a verb?
Well, let's see. Rub your nose. I can act it out to help me. When I rub my nose, the action is rub. So I believe the verb in that phrase is rub.
Very good job. Let's add our squiggly line under the word rub.
Wow. I think I'm beginning to really understand what a verb is. A verb is a word that shows action. Words like jump and run are verbs.
Yes, you've got it. Boys and girls, in a previous episode, we worked to retell a story in a new type of writing called a book report. The report was on the tale, The Two Dogs.
I have a great idea. Let's reread the tale, The Two Dogs, and while we read, we can hunt for more examples of verbs.
That is a great idea. Listen carefully as I reread the story and follow along. The Two Dogs. Once, two dogs met. One of them was a tame dog who made his home with men. One was a dog who ran free. The dog who ran free stared at the tame dog and said, "Why is it that you are so plump and I am so thin?"
Did you see any verbs here? Remember, a verb is a word that shows action. I see the action verbs met, ran, and stared.
Great job. Let's keep reading. "Well," said the tame dog, "I am plump because the men feed me. I do not have to run all the time to get my food. My job is to keep the home safe when the men are in their beds. When they wake up, they feed me scraps of food from their plates."
What verbs did you see? How about feed, run, and wake?
"Your life must be a fine life," said the thin dog. "I wish my life were like yours." The plump dog said, "If you will help me keep the home safe, I bet the men will feed you too." "I will do it," said the thin dog. But just as the thin dog said this, the moon shone on the neck of the plump dog. The thin dog said, "What is that on your neck?" "I am on a rope when the sun is up," said the plump dog. "Rope?" said the thin dog. "Do they keep you on a rope?" "Yes," said the plump dog. "When the moon is up, the men let me run free. But when the sun shines, they keep me on a rope. I cannot run and be free when the sun is up, but it is not so bad." "No, no," said the thin dog as he ran off. "I will not have a rope on my neck. You can be plump. I will be free."
That was a great tale. Thank you for reading it for us, Miss Valerie.
Boys and girls, did you hear any verbs in the story?
I did. Some of them were run, feed, and wish.
Yes, you did a great job of listening for verbs in that story.
In a previous episode, you used the story we just read to plan, draft, and edit a book report. Today, we will take your edited book report and write it over onto a clean piece of paper in paragraph form.
On the anchor chart behind us, we have the edited book report. Let's review it.
The book report is titled The Two Dogs. Follow along as I read. In the tale, The Two Dogs, a thin, free dog and a plump, tame dog met on a porch where the plump dog lived. Once, the free dog asked the tame dog why he was so plump. Next in the tale, the tame dog said, "I am plump because the men feed me and keep me on a rope." At the end of the tale, the free dog was glad to be free. This tale tells us to like who we are. I like this story because it tells us to like who we are. I do not like this story because one dog did not have a lot of food.
In the draft behind us that Miss Brittany just read, you will see a few proofreading marks that have been added.
Remember, boys and girls, when we edited this draft, we used an editing checklist and proofreading marks. Let's review this checklist. The
first thing on our checklist told us to look for the name of the tale.
The second step on our checklist was to make sure the report includes where the story takes place.
The next item on our checklist said to include the who from the story and to tell who they are.
The fourth item on the checklist told me to look for linking words like once, next, and at the end. Step numbers 5, 6, and 7 on our checklist include adding capital letters, adding missing punctuation, and correcting spelling errors. Let's look back at our draft to see how we edited those mistakes with our proofreading marks.
So to review, step 5 reminded us to check for correct capitalization throughout our report.
Boys and girls, did you notice any capitalization errors in this draft?
This sentence of the report says, at the end of the tale, the free dog was glad to be free. The A in at should be capitalized because it's the first word in a sentence.
That's right, Miss Valerie. We used proofreading marks and put 3 lines under the A in at to help us know this letter should be capitalized. So when we write our final draft, this will help us to remember to write it correctly.
The 6th step on the checklist said to check for correct punctuation. I did notice a sentence that did not have an ending mark.
Great eye, Miss Valerie. What about you, boys and girls? Did you notice a sentence that did not have an ending mark?
I see that
If you said the very last sentence of the report is missing an end mark, you got it.
as I was about to say, I see that the editors have put a period with a circle around it behind the last sentence.
This proofreading mark reminds us that when we're writing our final draft, we must add a period to the end of this sentence.
Let's look at the final edit that was made to this draft. The last step on our checklist reminded us to check for misspelled words.
Boys and girls, do you see any misspelled words? Look at this sentence in our draft. Read each word carefully. Look at the word like. Do you see a problem with this word?
I see that the word like is missing the final E on the end of the word. I also see that the editors have added the letters SP by the misspelled word with a circle around it.
This proofreading mark helps us know that the word is misspelled and will help us remember to write it correctly on our final draft.
Before we compose our final draft, we must review how it should be written.
Great idea, Miss Valerie. After all, a well-structured paragraph is the foundation of great writing. Boys and girls, do you know what a paragraph is?
Just as certain objects fit into certain groups, the content of a paragraph must fit together. A paragraph is a distinct section of writing covering one topic. A paragraph will usually contain more than one sentence.
That's right. We must also remember to indent when writing our paragraph. Do you know how to indent?
Miss Brittany, what is indenting?
I'm so glad you asked. Indents are when you move the first line of a paragraph to the right and create a space. It is usually 5-letter spaces. The first sentence of every paragraph should be indented to show where the paragraph ends. The rest of the sentences should be lined up on the left. If using notebook paper, these sentences should line up on the pink or red line. Let's take a look at an example.
On this slide, you can see a paragraph about summer. Look at the first line. It is indented.
Great observation. Remember that indenting means that you move the first line of a paragraph to the right and create a space. It is usually 5-letter spaces. The first sentence of every paragraph should be indented to show where the paragraph begins.
The rest of the lines are lined up on the left. If using notebook paper, these sentences should line up on the pink or red line.
That was a well-written paragraph. I think we're ready to reveal our final draft.
Boys and girls at home, if you are following along, there are a few things that you will need to complete your final draft. For handwritten papers, you will need a sharpened pencil, a piece of paper, and an eraser.
That's right, Miss Valerie. Also, boys and girls, there are a few things you should remember when writing a final draft. Be neat, make it error-free, and make it your best work. A final draft shouldn't be rushed, so we've written our final draft and we will reveal and discuss each sentence.
Let's take a look at our copy of the final draft of the book report behind us. Notice the title is in the center and all of the first letters are capitalized.
Miss Valerie, as you remove the cover off of the first sentence, I noticed that the first sentence is indented. It also contains the who or the characters from the story and the where or the setting. As we remove the next cover off of the sentence, this will tell us what happened first in the story. Once the free dog asked the tame dog why he was so plump. The next sentence tells us what happened second in the story. And the third sentence in our report tells what happened in the middle of the story. Next in the tale, the tame dog said, "I am plump because the men feed me and keep me on a rope." As we remove the cover off the fourth sentence, this will tell what happens at the end of the story. Also, you will notice that the capitalization error from our rough draft has been corrected in our final draft. The A in at has been written with a capital letter.
There we go.
The sixth sentence states what we liked about this story. I also noticed that the word like that was misspelled in our rough draft has been spelled correctly in our final draft. We have one more sentence. It's okay. If you'll notice on our rough draft, punctuation was left off at the end of our final sentence, and on our final draft, punctuation has been added.
Congratulations, boys and girls. You are all officially authors.
You worked really hard through the writing process, and you should be excited to share your writing with others. You should be proud of your work, and rightfully so. Give yourself a moment to shine.
Thank you for joining us today. All rights and credits from this lesson belong to Core Knowledge Language Arts. We would like to thank them for publicly sharing these materials.
We encourage you to play verb charades as a family. You can also go on a verb hunt and look for other action words in children's books, magazines, and even on age-appropriate kid television shows.
Also, use what you have learned today by publishing your own writing.
We will see you again soon.
Goodbye.